In a small village nestled among lush green fields and dusty paths, there lived an old woman named Seraya. She was nearly 80 years old, her silver hair neatly tied in a bun, her face always glowing with a gentle smile that neither time nor sorrow seemed able to fade. Her modest mud-brick house stood beneath the shade of an ancient neem tree, a quiet refuge for a life shaped by loss. Inside her home were only a few simple possessions: 2 clay jars for water, a chula stove for cooking, and an old wooden bed that creaked with every passing breeze. She lived alone. Her beloved husband had passed away 30 years ago, and her only son had left for the city to find work, never to return. Villagers often whispered, "Old Seraya, all alone and forgotten, yet always smiling as if untouched by sorrow." Behind what seemed like harsh loneliness, there radiated a peace that was hard to explain. That serenity inspired both wonder and admiration, and soon her unwavering smile became a quiet mystery to many. This image marked the beginning of a story carrying a profound lesson about inner strength and finding peace, even when life seems to take everything away. That summer, a young woman named Tanya, 20 years old, returned from Mumbai to visit her grandfather in the village. Tanya's heart was heavy with pain. She had just failed her medical entrance exam, the dream her family had long placed upon her. Her disappointment deepened when her best friend betrayed her trust. At home, her parents constantly compared her to others, leaving Tanya feeling useless and abandoned. Every evening, as the sun sank behind the trees, Tanya sat alone, staring blankly into the distance. Inside her, the same question echoed: why is life so cruel to me? She felt trapped, stripped of faith and purpose. One morning, while passing the old neem tree at the edge of the village, Tanya witnessed something unusual. There was Seraya, her silver hair pinned neatly, scattering grains of leftover rice for sparrows. As she worked, she softly hummed an old tune. Her face lit up with a warm smile. She greeted everyone passing by, even those who ignored her. Her eyes sparkled with a serenity as if no burden ever weighed upon her. The sight caught Tanya's attention. For many days she quietly observed Saraya's simple habits: feeding birds, smiling, living peacefully. Curiosity stirred within her. How could someone so alone, with no family left, still embody such calm? That moment planted the seed of their destined meeting. That afternoon, beneath the neem's gentle shade, Tanya finally approached. Her voice trembled with shyness. "Grandmother, may I sit with you for a while?" At once, Saraya's kind smile deepened. "Of course, child. This is when the neem gives the softest shade." They sat side by side in silence, surrounded by rustling leaves and the chirping of birds. After hesitation, Tanya finally asked, "Grandmother, you have no one left. You've endured so much loss, yet I always see you smiling, peaceful, as if untouched by pain. How do you do it?" Seraya chuckled softly, her voice warm. "My dear, I wasn't born with this smile. It only came after surviving many storms." She paused, her gaze distant as if flipping through old pages of memory. "Would you like to hear my story?" Tanya nodded eagerly, her wide eyes full of longing. Seraya began. When she was Tanya's age, she married a kind, humble man, filled with love. Their greatest joy was their little son. But life was not kind. One harsh winter, her husband fell gravely ill. With no hospital nearby and no money for treatment, he passed away in her arms. His last words whispered, "Be strong, Seraya." Those words became the fire that kept her standing. Though grief nearly consumed her, she lived on for her child. The story had barely begun, yet Tanya already felt something shifting inside her heart. Seraya continued, her voice steady yet full of emotion. After her husband's death, she felt as if half her soul was gone. Yet for her son, she rose again. Each day she worked as a laborer, cleaning houses, washing clothes, sometimes even begging, just to keep him fed and send him to school. Her only wish was to give him the future she never had. Years passed. Her son grew up, found a job in the city. With pride and worry, she let him go, believing he would one day return. But letters became rare. Phone calls ceased. One day she heard he had married, living happily in his own home. Once she went to the city, standing across the road, watching the golden light glowing from his window. In that moment, she knew her son had built a new life, a new family. "Sometimes love is not holding on, but letting go with grace," she whispered. Tanya's chest tightened. She asked, "Didn't you feel angry or lonely or heartbroken?" Seraya smiled, her radiant smile unchanged. "Of course, my dear. I did, but I learned to let 3 truths guide me. She raised 3 fingers. First, accept what you cannot change. I cannot force Kabir, my son, to remember me or to return, but I can choose not to let bitterness consume my soul. I choose peace over pain. Second, be grateful for what you have. I own little, but I have the sky above me, the shade of this neem, the song of birds each morning, and a heart still able to feel. Gratitude is not for the wealthy, but for the awakened. She paused, then raised her last finger. Third, give more than you take. I share rice with the birds, help children with their lessons, and gather herbs for the sick. These small acts remind me that I still matter. When I give, I feel alive. Tanya sat still, her heart slowly untangling its invisible knots. As the sun dipped low and birds returned to their nests, she smiled faintly for the first time in weeks. Holding Saraya's fragile hand, she whispered, "Thank you. You've healed part of my heart." That night, under a star-filled sky, Tanya and Seraya sat together long into the evening. They shared stories of life, laughter, and even tears. For the first time, Tanya felt warmth, soothing her inner wounds.